91.3 FM WBNY Buffalo, it's Retro with Mike. That's me, by the way, in case you haven't figured that out by now. DJ Radioactive is sitting in the background today because we happen to have a very special guest. He's been on the show before, and he's one of our favorites. Mr. Angel Rivera is here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Wearing a Jam t-shirt.
Of course.
Which is totally cool. Totally cool.
We love the Jam.
Yeah. The reason Angel's here is because he has a new band.
Yes, I do.
And the name of the new band is Super-Tugger.
Correct.
And if you want to try and lift that microphone up so you're not like hunched over.
Yeah, I got it. It's okay. I'm used to it.
The first question that I have, oh, by the way, the Uncertain Smile, my daily song when I started back in the day, and Elena's Feeling Good by Nina Simone, her daily affirmation. She's feeling good, and we'll get a little business out of the way before we start talking to Angel. We went to Roswell Park on Wednesday. And the bone marrow biopsy came back negative. The bone marrow's good. The red, white, and platelet counts are beginning to come up on their own. So no crisis. No crisis.
Not these days.
Not these days, at least. So, yep, we're all good. That's always a good thing. Although you have a bit of a cough, probably a summer cold or something.
Yeah, I'm hoping it.
Yeah. But back to today's special guest, Super-Tugger.
Yes, sir.
Where'd the name come from?
Super-Tugger. So there's this machine at work, and we use it for pulling cables, and it's called the Super-Tugger, and it's got this great, like, 70s lettering on it. It's got this great graphic, and it was, like, too much to waste on some industrial tool, and we decided to use that name. And anything starting with Super. I think Super, and then something else, I think that's a great name for a band.
I like it.
And we're, we're trying to be kind of a punk rock band, and just trying to keep it positive and fun, and I think that comes across with Super-Tugger.
Awesome.
Trying to pull you forward, pull you towards the punk rock. So,
now, I've seen the pictures that you're posting with the Super-Tugger name. I want to know, is the woman in the red bikini going to be at your show?
No, I think that woman in the red bikini now that's a controversial subject you stumbled onto.
Uh-oh.
So the whole thing was we were trying to like use old van ads from the 70s because we're all like 70s guys, and that's kind of the genre of punk rock that we're towards, 70s kind of jamming punk rock, and so we were like, hey, let's get an old van ad and use that for our symbol. So we did that. And that ad was like from 1971 or something, so that woman's got to be like 70 now.
Yeah.
So not to say she's probably not still great looking, but that's where the ad's from. So we were going to use that for an ad. We ended up using it for our show flyer, but that was a little controversial.
Okay.
But anyway, we're doing good.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I saw that and I'm like, huh. That's a nice lady in a red bikini. And then I looked at the van. I said, nice van. But I like the lady in the red bikini.
Yeah, it seems it worked. I mean, everyone loves a van. Everyone loves a woman in a bikini. And I hope everybody loves us. That's the whole idea.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. 2 weeks.
2 weeks, so September the 2nd.
September 2nd, Friday at Nietzsche's.
Nietzsche's.
Yes, sir.
What time does the show start?
Show starts at 10. We'll be going on about 11:30.
Okay.
So we'll be the second band of the night. 11:30, something like that. We'll be the second band of the night. First band is going to be Bighorn Sheep, good buddies of mine from up in North Buffalo. They're an 8-piece band. They got 3 drummers. Wow. They got bass player, 3 guitar players, singer. They're cool. And then after us will be Soul Butchers, which we played with before at over at the Gypsy Parlor and once before Nietzsche's. Those guys are awesome. Very, very much like the Dead Kennedys, that kind of old school punk. Great live act. They're really fun to watch.
So sounds great.
So that's what we're doing in 2 weeks. So, and then, of course, we have not retired the Card Cheats. We're just trying to distinguish ourselves from our cover band and our original band. So our cover band is still the Card Cheats. We're still there. We're still same 5 guys, same 5 degenerates, but we're doing original songs under the Super-Tugger moniker. So after we're done with the Super-Tugger set, look out for a surprise Card Cheats set. So
nice.
Will be a lot of music. It's gonna be fun.
Now I do have one question.
Yes.
I've seen the stage at Nietzsche's.
Right.
How are you getting 3 drum kits up there?
They're amazing. They get very, very cozy.
Yeah.
Because they've done it before, and it's pretty intense. So they'll figure it out.
All right. Now, a little more business. What's the cost to get in?
Oh, $5.
$5 at the door.
Yeah, $5, 3 bands. 4 if you want to count Super-Tugger / The Card Cheats. We're twice the band everybody else is. So.
Well, yeah. Look who's in charge right there.
Exactly, 100% Angel.
100% Angel. Now, Jason is your singer, I imagine.
Yes, Jason's a singer. Yes,
and
I hope he's listening out there, Jason. I hope you're listening.
You were supposed to show up, Jason.
But he's not here. But he's safe and sound, sequestered somewhere in Southern Tier. So.
Oh, he's in the Southern Tier.
Yes.
Oh, well, that makes sense then. Yeah. All right. And who else is in it?
We got Bruce. Bruce is a cook over at Thin Man. Actually, calling him a cook is not giving him enough credit. He is a master chef over at Thin Man. He cooked at a lot of other places. Wonderful cook, and an awesome drummer. He just crushes them. And then we got Nick. Nick, he bartends over at BV. Hopefully he's waking up. I hope he can hear me, Nick. And and then we got Joe. Joe's on guitar. So we got 2 guitars in the band. Joe used to be in the Pinheads, and he plays second guitar, and he is the owner of Spars over on Amherst Street.
Oh.
So he's pack sausage and all the good stuff. So we got a very diverse group, and of course we got Jason. So we got a vegetarian, and then we got guys who butcher and make sausage. So it's a pretty diverse group. But we all have fun. We all have a great time.
Oh, good. I had no idea Jason was a vegetarian.
Oh, yeah, lifelong vegetarian. So Jason dragged me out about 2 weeks ago because he knows I'm running, and I kind of fell off of my running over the summer because of the heat. But he dragged me out to go run for the Tofu 5K. It was part of Veggie Fest about 2 weeks ago in Riverside Park. It was awesome. It was really cool. I'm not a vegetarian, but they made it really fun and exciting, and the food they put on was great. And but trying to explain it to my daughter as I was leaving the house, I said, "Yeah, I'm running this race." And she said, "What's it for?" I said, "It's for tofu." She went, "It's for tofu awareness?" I said, "Yeah, you don't want to get tofu, honey." You know.
Well, no, I'm not a vegetarian, but I've had some tofu.
Yes.
And if it's made right, it's quite good.
No, tofu's great. I have nothing against tofu. It's just kind of funny to be running for tofu awareness. So. Yeah, it was tofurkey. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had tofurkey before.
Yeah.
But and I've always said, I don't know why you run unless you're being chased, but, that's just me. And as you can tell, I'm a fat guy, so there you are.
There you go. Yeah, it's something we do.
We're going to play some music. We're going to get to some of your influences and do a lot more talking about Super-Tugger and a bunch of stuff. But this is another local band who we both know very well. For some odd reason, he decided to have a band practice today instead of listening to us. But here's Dotsun Moon with Glory on Retro with Mike.
Glory. Broken windows, broken hearts. Tell this story always starts. Broken bones, wasted lives. At the end, it's no surprise.
Oh yeah, we'll think about it tonight. The whores, the punks, the predators, the sycophants, the thieves, the junkies, the sick and the venal. Then someday a real rain is gonna come and wash all the scum off these streets.
I said, Travis, where are you, Travis? Still angel never got no love. He had no use for the Lord above. All his time was for the feelings that I couldn't understand. Made him break windows, flip garbage cans. Broken windows, broken hearts. Tell this story always starts. Broken bones, wasted lives. At the end, it's no surprise. Broken windows, broken hearts. Tell this story always starts. Broken bones, wasted lives. At the end, it's no surprise. Travis, where are you, Travis?
Broken Windows, brand new music from Super-Tugger. Super-Tugger's Angel, 100% Angel is here.
Yes, good morning. 100% Angel here.
All right. So, who's Chavez? In the song, he's like, "Where are you, Chavez?"
No, he's saying, "Where are you, Travis?"
Oh, Travis.
So that's
Sorry.
it's an ode to Travis Bickle from
okay.
A Taxi Driver.
All right.
The inspiration for that song. So the song has a backstory. It was written. The original music was written by Joe. He came up with it, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but last year, Spars, again locally owned and operated over in Amherst and Black Rock. Had his store broken into. Somebody smashed the front window, and broke into it. So it was a local neighborhood kid, and just being a punk, and just broke it. Didn't even steal anything. Just being a jerk. So that's pretty much what the song is about. And it's and it kind of inspired us. And I tied in Taxi Driver there, which I'm a big fan of, with De Niro. I mean, that's a classic film. So the little bridge in the middle there, that's Jason's interpretation of the Travis Bickle taxi scene, where he's driving around the city at night, talking about what's happening to his city.
Gotcha.
Back then, that was Times Square was not a place he took families to. Back then,
No, back then it wasn't.
That was not a place, and that was a darker New York, and that New York's gone away.
Yeah.
But we're keeping it real up here in Buffalo, so
Oh,
we
yeah.
got plenty of city areas still.
Yeah.
So we're kind of just keeping them on
Not
back burner.
like we used to.
Not like we used to either. It's getting a lot better. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, there's a lot of construction going on, but it's a kind of ode to the past. That there was the best of times and the worst of times.
Yeah.
Back then, the city was in decay, just falling apart, but it made some great music. London was being ruined. With all the deregulation and Thatcherism, and they made great music. So with Brexit happening, with Donald Trump rising, maybe we'll get some good music out of it. Maybe we'll get the flip side.
Well, hopefully
that's what we can hope.
Hopefully, and this is my personal opinion, Donald won't get the White House, but stranger things have happened.
Right, but it's still strange times. He's definitely caught a the ear of a lot of people, and definitely it's scary that this is mainstream now.
Yeah. It's scary that he's tapped into the hate that's been just bubbling under the surface.
Right.
And his rhetoric has allowed it to come out full force.
Exactly.
People get beat up because they're different.
Right.
On the streets, people are getting beat up, or some people are getting killed just because they look different. They're other, and I'll put that in quotation marks.
Right.
And that's the danger of somebody like him who doesn't want to filter or doesn't know how to filter.
Right.
Or, I don't think it's a matter of that. And I know we're getting off what we want to talk about today. But I think he's the ultimate showman, and he knows what he needs to do to stay in the mainstream's eye.
Correct.
And if it's bringing out hate and ignorance, then that's what he's going to do to better his own brand.
Right. He's just grabbing attention.
Exactly. Exactly. So we're going to play some Clash in a few minutes. They're one of your personal influences.
Yes, I love the Clash. Clash was my number one band. Clash, Ramones, and then the Sex Pistols. So, no, 1, 2, 3.
That's hilarious because I've got all those up on deck to play.
Beautiful.
And I didn't know that. I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, now, what can I play? But so, tell me why the Clash is just so... I forgot to do something. We'll have to do that in a minute. Tell me why the Clash is so much of an influence for you.
Well, Clash is huge influence because they're just everything about them, their music, their message, the way they approached their lives. I mean, just so influential. So they got together in London, and they were, you have Mick Jones, who's the big rock star, and was into it for the music, and then Joe was the world traveler and really wanted to get his message across, and the two of them together brought in a lot of influences from world music. They brought in reggae. They brought in just a new way of approaching music. They made the bass an important instrument. Kind of differentiated themselves from the Ramones, where it was just a wall of sound, and they had the bass, and they were able to delve into reggae, and just all that influence. They always kept the message clear. They wanted to sing about big world events and big things in their lives. You had songs like. I'm So Bored with the USA started off as a Mick Jones song called I'm So Bored of You, and Joe said, no, we got to make it about something real. We got to be bored about the USA. So, but if you hear it, you can still hear Mick Jones in the background singing I'm So Bored of You, and then Joe picks up the USA on the end of it. So it's that kind of dichotomy. One guy wanted to be a rock star, and one guy wanted to get his message to the world, and that's how they worked out great.
Do you think that was one of the ultimate things that led to the Clash breaking apart? Just the fact that Joe wanted to go in one direction and Mick wanted to go in a totally different direction.
Yeah, I don't know if they, reading the books and stuff, I don't know if they really went in totally different directions. They both wanted to do something, and I think the biggest thing that broke them up was they just did too much in too short a time. I mean, they cranked out records at a pace that bands just don't do anymore. I mean, they started off with the first record. Within a year, they made the big USA record, Give Enough Rope. Then they come back with a double album, and they said, hey, why don't we follow up a double album with a triple album? Wow. And then after that, they did Combat Rock, and Combat Rock was originally a double album, and Joe had to edit it down to one album. So they were just making music fast and furious, and they really had no downtime to just stop. And bands today just stop. Bands just stopped for a couple of years, and they could have stopped for a couple of years and came back, but it just wasn't in their nature. They were just full bore all the time. And then, like any good band, they argued and they fought. And, in retrospect, Joe realizes kicking Mick out of the band was the worst decision he ever made. But, that's life. That's how it goes. And they closed a chapter on that and they moved on to other things.
Yeah, I remember watching a documentary about the band, and I can't remember, it might have been on Palladium, whatever that station is on cable, but talking about what led to the eventual dissolution of the band and how Joe was trying to find ways to reconnect with Mick after it happened. Right. And it just, after the breakup happened, and it never really gelled where the two of them could get back together and make more music.
Yeah, they did covertly. If you listen to the Sid and Nancy soundtrack, Joe wrote 2 songs for that, and Mick actually plays all the instruments on it. He played the guitar and the bass, nice. He wasn't credited, but he did play all the music on that. And then Joe popped up on the second Big Audio Dynamite album. He wrote all the lyrics.
Oh, so that I did.
They did collaborate afterwards a little bit, but Love Kills is like the big theme song in Sid and Nancy, right? And that's all Mick, and it was uncredited.
I did not know.
Yeah,
that.
I just recently read that.
And
that's a great song.
Yeah,
we'll play it later, but it's amazing, So.
All right. Well, we're going to play some Clash music in a few minutes, but I got to take care of a little bit of quote unquote business. 2 from the Clash on Retro with Mike. The story of the Clash, basically.
Yeah, basically in song. That's the story of the Clash.
And Clash City Rockers before that. Angel Rivera of Super-Tugger is here this morning. It's just about, it's 10:48, almost 11 o'clock here at WBNY Buffalo. And we're talking about Angel's new band, Super-Tugger.
Yes.
And some of the influences that have gone into who Super-Tugger is. And Clash is one of your biggest personal influences.
Yes.
And we're going to play Love Kills by Joe Strummer
Excellent.
in a little bit. Had no idea that was behind the Sid and Nancy soundtrack.
Yeah, it's like the secret Clash song.
Yeah, had no idea. That's totally cool. And we were talking a little bit more about Mick and Joe and you know, what led to the split in that. And you were telling me offline that they actually collaborated on a couple of different things, but behind the scenes.
Yes. They when Joe tried to get the band back together originally after Big Oda Dynamite started, Mick was already committed to Big Oda Dynamite, so he didn't want to go backwards. So, but he did Joe a solid favor by helping with the soundtrack for the Sid and Nancy movie, and he plays all the music on the Sid and Nancy song "Love Kills." He also plays on the Dum Dum Club, which was the B-side. And then later, Joe returned a favor by writing lyrics for the second Big Oda Dynamite album. And I think some of the better songs is the Dial a Hitman, and then some of those songs are all Joe lyrics.
Yeah.
You know, so
Did not know that. That
Yep.
is totally cool. So,
you know the last show that Mick Jones that Joe Strummer played just before he passed, they were doing a benefit for striking mine workers in England, and it was Muscaleros were playing, and then as a surprise guest for the last two songs, Mick Jones jumped up on stage, and they played White Riot, and I think they played Bank Robber, and that was they played their last show together,
Oh,
and then
nice.
a couple of weeks later Joe passed, so
Yeah.
it's kind of wild.
yeah. Why is it that a lot of and this is purely rhetorical, but why is a lot of the greats die early?
Yeah, I
You
don't know. Yeah.
I mean, Joe, someone just died, was it yesterday? Oh gosh, now I can't think who it was, but he, well, there went that thought.
They got all four Ramones. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all gone now. The original lineup. I mean, it's amazing.
And then you got somebody and like Iggy, who did some weird stuff on stage, like rolling around in broken glass and whatnot, who's still alive and kicking and going strong.
Yeah, I know. He's amazing. He's just you can't explain him.
Yeah, it's like, really?
He should be studied.
Can we have some of your DNA and make humans stronger?
Right, and his buddy David Bowie passed. You know,
Yeah.
I never saw that coming.
No, I didn't even know he was battling cancer at the
Yeah.
time, and you know they kept it that close,
Right.
you know, to the family and whatnot. And it's just 2016's been a bad year for
Yes.
that.
Yes, it has
I will say that it's been bad for other things, but seriously bad for good musicians going home, as it were.
Yeah, way too soon.
Way too soon. But you know what? If there is a heaven, there's one hell of a kick-ass band going on.
Oh
out
yeah,
there.
I'm sure. Especially with Bowie showing up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But so we're going to play some Ramones and some Sex Pistols, which you mentioned are some more of your influences. Tell me, what drove the Card Cheats to want, and maybe drove is a bad way to put it, but what caused the genesis of Card Cheats cover punk to Super-Tugger original music? What happened what was the mindset that caused this?
Sure. So we started together as a Clash cover band, so we could play the Joe Strummer show back in 2015. So we got together. We called it the Card Cheats. That's a song off of the London Calling album, and the Card Cheat. And we got together to do that. And then after that, we liked playing the covers and playing some, just playing music together. So we ended up putting together a whole bunch of covers. And then we played Nietzsche's. And we were just playing for fun, just playing for our own enjoyment, just playing songs we liked, just songs we could do and have fun with. And we were doing the covers for a while, and we just reached our natural conclusion. Like once you're in somebody else's shoes, you eventually want to branch out and do your own thing, and that's what we're doing now. So we're writing new songs. It's all in that same kind of vein, that 70s kind of punk vein, and just the next step. people have been asking us for original songs, and we're going to give it to them.
Okay.
So that's, and then we wanted to rebrand it under Super-Tugger, so people know that it's kind of a break from the Card Cheats thing. But the Card Cheats are alive. We'll still do covers and we'll still play. And we're all old enough, and in our lives where we play what we want to play. You know, and then we only do it for fun. And hopefully that comes across. That's what we want. We want people to come out and have fun with us.
Yeah. Well, Broken Window was awesome. You can tell Jason. You can tell Jason is singing. He is very distinctive in his voice, and there's so much passion behind it. And I've had the privilege of seeing you guys play out, and I don't think there's any one of you in the band, and I haven't seen the newest member play, so I can't speak to him. Joe, is it?
Joe. Yeah.
But everybody else that I've seen play at one point in time with you, it's pure passion. There's nobody just sitting there going, oh yeah, I'm playing music, and oh yeah, I'm just having... No, there's lots and lots of passion behind everything you guys do, which is one of the things that draws me to the music that you do. I'm very finicky when it comes to my music. I like what I like, and I know what I don't like. So for me to come across something a la Dotsun Moon a few years back, a la the Viva Noir, and now Card Cheats and your Clash cover and such, it takes a lot for me to really get into it, because I'm more of an 80s alternative punky synth kind of a guy. Sure. New Order and U2 and stuff like that. So when I like a band, I hear a lot of that other stuff that I really, really enjoy come through in the music. And that's what I'm hearing from your stuff.
Oh, thank you.
I'm hearing, I like the Sex Pistols, so I'm hearing some of the Pistols in either the Card Cheats, whether you're covering a Pistol song or not.
Right.
I like the Ramones. They're just incredibly short songs, So when I listen to the Card Cheats, and if you're covering those tunes and now Broken Window, I hear those influences in the music.
Sure. Yeah.
And I like that.
Oh, well, thank you. No, those are all our influences. I mean, we doing the covers, you like, playing Steve Jones riffs. I mean, that's great. And that comes across. You can't lose that. I got a lot of friends out on the West Coast, and I sent a link of some of our YouTube stuff, and he goes, "So Steve Jones is your favorite guitar player, huh?" And he could just tell from my playing, And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So that's good. I want those influences to come across. That's who we are.
Yeah. I mean, and I think what's even better is you can see that influence in how you play your instrument, but you still come shining through above it. It's not like, well, there you are, I'm just going to do Steve Jones's thing and be a Steve Jones automaton. No, this is Angel with the Steve Jones influence, but Angel is what's coming through.
100% Angel.
Yeah. I mean, when Jason's singing, you can see some of that Iggy Pop exuberance,
right.
Some of that, oh gosh. Now I can't think of anybody else, but I mean, when he's getting air because he's jumping so high, or he's back on his legs, leaning back, with his head touching the stage, very limber, by the way.
Oh yeah, he stretches a lot.
You can see the influences of those type of guys in who Jason has become.
Right.
But still, Jason is shining through. It's not, well, there's Jason as Iggy Pop.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think that's. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's a trap some bands fall into. They allow their influences to be their persona.
Right. No, we're all pretty strong personalities in the band. So we have influences, but our personalities still shine through. Just the way we all are. We're doing a Velvet Underground cover now. We're doing a Femme Fatale, and the way we play it, people are blown away because we totally punk it out, and it's a pretty slow song, but we change it, and people have been saying, like, you're not really a cover band. You're like you play covers, but it's still the Card Cheats. Like, we don't play them like note for note perfect. I mean, we like off the record. That's not what we do. We play it as five guys who are having fun, who love these songs, and that's what's coming across. I grew up going to shows in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and you never expected the band to sound like the album. You wanted a concert experience. You wanted to sound different. You know that they're not going to bring a harpsichord or a keyboard on stage. They're going to be playing five guys playing rock and roll. And so today's day and age, everyone wants to go to a live show and expect it to sound just like the record, and that's useless. You just stay home and blast it at yourself and save some money.
Yeah. When
you go to a live show, you want the band to be live. You want them to talk to you. You want them to interact with the crowd, and you want it to come across as a live show. It's gonna sound different. It should.
Yeah, it should.
That's what we try, and that's what we try to do.
Yeah, I remember somebody long time ago when I was going here, an actual student, and I can't remember what band it was that they were talking about. They had played on campus, and I didn't enjoy it at all because it didn't sound like the album.
Right.
Well, why did you expect them to? They're live.
Right.
There's going to be differences because studio is produced. I mean,
Right.
Now I don't like that track, so we're going to do it again to get that one note just perfect.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of just walked away shaking my head.
Yeah.
Because, or the time that Simple Minds played here at Buff State. And I like Simple Minds. At the time, Don't You Forget About Me was, because the movie was out,
right,
was a huge smash. And they saved that song for their first encore. So throughout the whole show, those people like myself who knew Simple Minds were bopping around, were enjoying this. But as soon as they played Don't You Forget About Me, the rest of the crowd just all of a sudden lit right up. Right. And in the back of your mind, you're like, really?
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Because they just played an awesome show of some awesome music, but this is the one you...
Right.
Yeah, so that was... By the way, you are listening to 91.3 FM WBNY Buffalo, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982, and we're brought to you by the Buffalo State Student Activity Fee. Had to get that out of the way.
Of course.
That's something that is a requirement.
Yeah, I want to keep the planes in the sky.
Yeah, we were talking about that you had heard that it's a requirement so that if an airplane it loses its radar or contact with the ground, they can get their bearings from FM radio signals. Or
yeah, that's what I heard. The whole idea is part of helping a navigator get planes back to the airport. It's by triangulation.
That I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's totally cool. Totally cool.
You're doing your part to keep planes in the sky. That's a good thing.
Awesome. So we're going to play some music. We'll talk some more. But this is off the Sid and Nancy soundtrack. And this is Love Kills by Mr. Joe Strummer. Sex Pistols on Retro with Mike, one of the influences of Angel Rivera and Super-Tugger. That is Anarchy in the UK. Before that, Joe Strummer off the Love Kills soundtrack of the Sid and Nancy movie, Love Kills. And if you are an aficionado of The Clash, you will hear Mick Jones' guitar in there. And we were discussing this offline, that you can hear the big audio dynamite stuff that Mick was doing coming through, or where he was progressing towards.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. So Retro with Mike, Angel Rivera is here with me, and DJ Radioactive, who's kind of dozing in the corner. She's not feeling a little bit well today, a bit of a summer cold. And we're talking about the influences of Super-Tugger,
yes,
which The Clash and the Pistols were one. And you were telling me, and before we get more into Super-Tugger, but you were telling me that you saw a show in New York with the Pogues. Tell us the special thing that happened.
Yeah, so I never got to see The Clash first time around, or ever. But back in '88, I saw the Pogues play in New York, and that was an amazing show. And they had about an 8-9 piece band, and they're doing their thing. And the Pogues are just an amazing act. And Shane MacGowan's just magnetic. And even with all the people on stage, you're just drawn to Shane. And they're playing their hearts out. And there's some scraggly looking guy in the background playing rhythm guitar. You don't really notice because there's so many people running around stage. And towards the middle of the set, that guy starts walking up towards the mic. And you're like, who's that guy? And as you're looking at him, you're looking closer and closer. You see the guitar. It's an old Telly. And you see a scraggly looking guy. He had a beard and stuff. And Shane goes, I'd like to introduce Mr. Joe Strummer. And they launch right into London Calling. And then after that, they played I Fought the Law. And Joe sang his heart out for 2 songs. And it was amazing. The place exploded. Nobody could believe it was happening. And then the Pogues went back and did their set. And he just blended back in the background. It was the weirdest thing. But it was awesome. It was and I was about 10 feet away from him. I just never. It was just not on my radar. And the scraggly-looking guy it was Joe, and Joe was just sitting in with the band.
That's awesome. I was privileged, and I will say that I was privileged to see them here in Buffalo. 84, I believe it was 84. Might have been 83, but they played out at UB. And if you've ever been in an alumni arena, acoustically back then it wasn't the best. It's a box.
Right.
I mean, there's no way around it. It's a box. Music doesn't travel well in a box. But it was just an amazing show from start to finish. And yeah, I consider myself to be lucky and blessed to have seen the Clash before they broke up a couple of years later. So my first band I ever saw, Roxy Music up in Toronto.
Oh wow, that's a great first band.
What was the first band you saw?
This
first
is painful.
concert.
First concert. The first concert is a little painful. Was John Cougar Mellencamp on the ROCK and the USA tour. It was quite a show.
Why is it painful? I mean, he is a talented man.
No, he's talented. It just doesn't go very punk rock with John Cougar Mellencamp, but I guess that's a pretty solid first concert for a Jersey boy.
Sure.
It was in the Meadowlands. He was doing the ROCK and the USA tour and doing the Scarecrow and the Pink Houses, and it was good. He was discovered by Main Man Music, which was David Bowie's record label.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was. He came in there, and David Bowie having his record label, Main Man. He also produced Iggy Pop, and they were looking for a new act. And everybody came in looking like an Iggy Pop clone or a David Bowie clone. And John Cougar was the only one who came in looking like John Cougar, not trying to be match up to the label. And so they signed him. They signed him on the spot, because he had a good voice, he was talented, and they're the ones who produced them. So.
Nice. Well, at least
backstory.
At least it wasn't Bon Jovi.
No. Bon Jovi was around at the time. I didn't see him, but he did marry a girl from my hometown, from Westfield, New Jersey. So he was around. He was floating around. But no, I never got to see him.
Out of all of the shows you've gone to, first one to the one that you haven't played in. Okay,
there you go.
What's your most favorite?
Performing or watching?
Watching.
Oh, watching. God, I've seen so many good shows. Probably for me the second Lollapalooza. Just in '92 with grunge breaking and everything else. It was kind of a weird time. It was I'm not even into those bands anymore, but you could totally tell there was like a shift change, a sea change going on. And that was something different. I was not a big festival guy, but seeing Ministry outside in a big field in Boston, that was just amazing. And the Chili's played after them. That was and the opening acts for Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. It was just wild. The great thing about Ministry is that they came on stage. They had fully transitioned away from the kind of the goth thing into almost like a metal act. They had 5 guitar players on stage. They were dressed in bones and stuff, and he refused to go on stage until it was dark. He said, my kind of music doesn't go on during daylight. Yeah, so kind
of like the Jesus Built My Hot Rods.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. That was the era, the Psalm 69 era, and that was amazing. So that was not mainstream before that. There was not a way to see 20,000 kids out there listen to Ministry. I never thought that would happen. Yeah. And then probably the second one is I saw in 2002 I went to go see the Sex Pistols out in L.A. Inland Invasion with my buddy Andy, who lives out there. And they played with X, the Buzzcocks, a bunch of L.A. bands like Circle Jerks, and Social Distortion. And that was 80,000 kids out in the desert. It was the largest punk rock concert up to that time.
Wow.
And that was quite a show. That was a lot of bands at Damned. A lot of bands I always wanted to see all in one shot. Was amazing.
Nice. Yeah. What was the worst one you saw? That you didn't go there thinking it was going to be a bad show. You were really excited, and you saw it, and you're like, "Oh, that was horrible." Oh boy, there are a lot of bad shows. God, let me think here. Well, it was a disappointment. I hate to say it because Richie's probably listening. He's going to get mad at me. But Jesus and Mary Chain, the first time I saw them, it was real bad. I got tickets to go see them at the Ritz, and of course they had trouble getting into the country, so that show got canceled. And this is pre-internet, time. So I took a train all the way into the city, get there, stand in front of the club, and they canceled the show, and I'm stuck with 2 tickets. So they rebooked it. And they played 2-3 months later, and they finally got in the country. And I was all excited to see them.
and they came out, and instead of having what's his name, the drummer from. Instead of having a drummer, they had a drum machine, and the whole time the band never turned around, except for the singer. The rest of the band just faced their amps, and like they had like no stage presence at all, and they were just like, it was totally hostile, and almost like that was the time they were trying to create like violence and stuff, and they got the crowd pretty riled up.
Wow.
It just wasn't good, But I did see them again later, and they were much better. They had gotten that out of their systems, I guess.
Yeah.
But there was their hostile time.
The best show I ever saw and the biggest disappointment I ever saw was the same exact band 2 different times, and that was New Order.
Oh, really? Well,
The first time I saw them, I went up to Toronto. I was so looking forward to seeing them. And back at that time, they decided, even before they went out on stage, whether they were going to do an encore or not. And nothing was ever going to change whether, if they decided they weren't doing one, it didn't matter how much the crowd was into it and how much the crowd cheered and stomped and whistled and whatnot, they would come back on stage. That show, they decided they weren't doing an encore.
wow.
And, the show was great, and everyone wants them to come back out, and they wouldn't.
Wow.
So the lights went up in the venue, and everyone's like, what the, and then I saw them here in Buffalo, and I think it was National Hose Park, which is out off the 90 in Tonawanda. And or the 190, whatever it is, and it was an amazing show. I think they did 2 encores that night.
Oh, well.
Just so it was like
They're trying to make it up to you.
yeah, night and day. So I had a bunch of questions for you, and they're just all gone now. But so when you are putting together the new music for Super-Tugger, what do you do to put the music together? I mean, what mindset do you get into, or how do you go about creating the music for the new band?
Well, we have a bunch of writers in the band, so the way I write is, I have a lot of different influences, and I kind of put myself in that headspace, especially doing the covers, and just try to look for that kind of vibe, the kind of 70s early punk rock vibe. The other guys in the band, Joe wrote, like I said, he wrote the first song that we played tonight, and he comes from those kind of same background. And we work up the riffs together, and then kind of form into a song. Everyone kind of pitches their ideas, play a bunch of riffs, and then work it up. That first song didn't have lyrics, and I took the couple of jams home and worked up some lyrics for it, and then gave them to Jason, and he sings them.
Nice.
And then we have another song, Gutter Poets, which Nick wrote the bass line for, and we all just came together with the guitars and put that together. And I listened to that and gave it some lyrics and move ahead. So, everyone's bringing in ideas right now. The great thing about writing your own material is that, just throw everything out there, and it's kind of like the whole Spinal Tap thing. There's a thin line between stupid and clever, and you just got to not be afraid. The first time you hear your band play back something that you wrote or came up with, there's a little squishy factor. You're like, oh, did I get that right? But the guys like it, and we keep moving ahead. You gotta not be afraid. Throw those ideas out there. And the best thing is, if we don't like it, we just don't play it. We just move on.
So it's music first, lyrics second, or do you ever just have the lyrics and then you say, okay, guys, here's the lyrics, and then build the music around it?
Yeah, well, like with Gutter Poets, I wrote those lyrics just wrote the lyrics and then kind of match it up to the song. It worked for that song. I write lyrics all the time. I know Jason does. Just keep a journal. When an idea pops in your head, you got to jot it down and get there. I mean, that phrase, popped in my head a while back, and I just kept it in a back burner. And when I finally heard the music that matched up to it in my head, I used it. When you're writing songs, you got to just keep. I'm recording this now. I record everything, every jam, every practice. If I got an idea pops up in my head during the day, I jot that down and email it to myself or, text it to myself and try to keep track of those threads. And then eventually you pull those ideas together and make a song. That's the way I approach it.
Oh, that's totally cool. Yeah. Now, is the practice space somebody's garage, or do you actually have a studio somewhere that you rent time at to go practice?
Yeah, we practice over on Main Street in Monmouth Studio. It's just south of Canisius. Great space. It's got it helps definitely with the vibe. We we go out and hang on the roof and stuff, and it's just got like that industrial, Decay kind of vibe to it, and a bunch of great bands are all practicing in there. So when you practice in a space like that and you hear the other bands coming through the wall, sometimes it kind of ups your competitive factor.
Sure.
You want to sound good too. So it's a great spot. All the people there are awesome. Upstairs they have Mammoth Studio where they're recording bands, and once we get this set together and we're comfortable, we're going to start recording ourselves. So
nice. So let's play some more influential music. But actually, I think we're going to do one of your other band songs first.
There we go. Okay.
So this is from the this is from the Viva Noir.
Yes.
And this is called This Is Not an Exit.
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Retro with Mike, the Viva Noir, Angel from Super-Tugger.
Thank you.
I'm in a deathbed situation. I might rise to the occasion. With your husband's shackles on, I'd best leave it alone. It's a loaded gun, a Russian roulette. When you're alone in the alley with a cigarette, with a final moment to walk away from regret and anger you feel today. You move in for the kill. This danger is such a thrill. I move for the door, but you're looking for so much more. Oh, this is not an exit. It's not a choice or an opportunity. It's an accidental opening. Oh, it's a wrong turn. You got the best of me. Oh, when the daylight comes and the dream has passed, can I look at my reflection in an empty glass and see a dead man on display? Hung on vows that I betrayed, and where they talk in the bars, where they talk in the streets, where they undermine our discreet retreat. Words and actions of mortal friends lead us to the bitter end. You move in for the kill. This danger is such a thrill. I move for the door, but you're looking for so much more. Oh, this is not an exit. It's not a choice or an opportunity. It's an accidental opening. No, it's a wrong turn. It got the best of me. This is not an exit. It's not a choice or an opportunity. It's an accidental opening. No, it's a wrong turn. It got the best of me. It's an accidental opening. Oh, it's a wrong turn. It got the best of me. This is not an exit. This is not an exit. This is not an exit. So it's a wrong turn. It got the best of me.
The Dolls, Just Looking for a Kiss, and before that, the Viva Noir, This Is Not an Exit, and the Viva Noir is one of Angel Rivera's other bands.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
So that band is still alive, as it were. It's just on hiatus.
It's on hiatus, exactly. We're on a little break, but we should be back soon. We'll pick up the thread on that one. That had a more of a new wave kind of vibe to it that we were working on. Jamie's out there. Hopefully he's out there listening. And Josh, great rhythm section. A lot of fun. We'll definitely get that back together. The last show we did together was my graduation party, the Gypsy Parlor, back in 2014.
Yeah.
So and that was a blast. So
it was.
Hope we can get them back together.
Sounds good. Listen, before we go any further, after the show on the 2nd, not necessarily the 3rd, mind you, but anytime after, you guys are welcome to come on.
Yeah.
bring them the instruments and maybe do an acoustic set or something? Or
Yeah, we'll definitely set something up for sure.
yeah, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, we played here before. We played with the Viva Noir. We played here a couple 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah, and bring the families, because everybody's welcome if they want to hang out and
that'd be
listen.
great.
You know, go because out there the studio
it's
a little loud, but yeah, so that'll be cool. So David Johansen and the Dolls, how did they influence you?
Well, the biggest thing with the Dolls is David Johansen's great performer. But for me, it's all about Johnny Thunders on guitar. Just those licks. He has those kind of bluesy kind of licks over the screaming and stuff.
Yeah.
That's definitely my sound. That's a sound of New York for me. You know, those wailing guitars. You know, the Ramones came through and just stripped everything and just brought it down to just rhythm guitar and bass, and that's great. I love the Ramones, but there was before that there were guitars used to be able to play solos and used to be able to scream and everything else. So that's what I like about the Dolls. They still had that, and that's that New York sound that I enjoy. He plays like Subway Train. His guitar screeching like a subway train. Right. I mean you can hear like it's just a great foil for David Johansen to work off. That's what I really enjoy.
Do you consider blues music to be one of your influences? Because you're saying you like Johnny's blues guitar kind of
thing. I'm definitely grew up with that whole '70s guitar playing blues kind of sound. I mean that's for me is one of my influences. I've learned a lot of the old classic rock songs and stuff like that, but I bring it to punk rock. And that's just my influence. Nothing there's nothing wrong with straight ahead rhythm guitar, but I've always liked playing solos, and I mean, it's just growing up in New Jersey. You can't get away from it.
Now, is there any one of those that style band, as it were, that is more influential in what you do, that blues feel, than any of the others? I mean,
what do you mean?
Well, you're influenced by the blues guitar.
Right.
Is there any other than Johnny? Is there any like '70s bluesy type band or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't play along to a couple Led Zeppelin records, and definitely Jimi Hendrix. Those two guys. When you first learn guitar, they hand it to you in New Jersey. I think they give you a book with Led Zeppelin and Hendrix. And you try to fumble through it. And the liberating thing about punk rock is like I learned those licks and stuff, but I don't feel compelled to be like note for note perfect. Trying to cop that sound. And then the greatest thing about Hendrix is that he played music all the time, and he just did his own thing, and that's what I love. I mean, he's definitely classic rocker or whatever, but he definitely had that thing where he was kind of punk rock and did what he wanted. He hated his own voice, that's something people really enjoy his voice. He hated his lyrics, that's why he covered Dylan, but he was untouchable on guitar, but he went ahead and did it. He had to do his own thing, and that's what I take away from that. And then if the bombast of Led Zeppelin, the guitars and stuff, that's something you grow up in New Jersey and New York, and you hear that coming out of car windows all the time. It just kind of bleeds into your DNA. And I never shook that. I always kept kind of kept that with me. So.
Yeah, well, I notice as I'm getting older, bands that I didn't care for in the past, I like listening to their music now.
Right. Like
Led Zeppelin. Some Stones music.
Right.
I've never been a Stones fan,
right.
but some of their stuff. Was never a huge Aerosmith fan.
Right.
Some of their songs, So yeah, as I get older, Rush, for example.
Right.
That's who was percolating in the back of my head. Never really cared for Rush.
Right.
But I hear it every now and again when I'm going through different stations because, I listen to WBNY when I'm at home or on the drive to or from work or whatnot. But every
right.
now and again, you just want to, change it up a little bit. And
right.
you come across one of the other stations in town playing Tom Sawyer or,
Living in the Limelight.
Living in the Limelight. And it's like, yeah, it's growing on me because I was never a huge fan of Geddy's voice.
Right.
But when you put Geddy's voice aside and you listen to Neil on the drums,
right.
and you listen to Geddy's,
bass runs,
bass runs, yeah, I'm like, he's the bassist, right? but you start to gain an appreciation for the craft that they've put into that music, and and that's another reason why I like what you guys do is because it's just not this cookie cutter stuff right. that you hear on mainstream radio or YouTube or Pandora right. or any one of those services. It's all basically the same.
Right.
there's not a lot of soul or heart in today's music. It's pop. Now, it's not my favorite genre, but hip-hop. There's still that passion in that music. And the other music of this day, as it were, has lost it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. A lot of it's just, they just, create, they're just packaging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I whether you like grunge or not, I think that was kind of a bit of a death knell for the punk, the new wave scene, because it kind of put the brakes on a lot of stuff. Now, I like some Nirvana, like Soundgarden. I am a fan of some of Pearl Jam's stuff, but you can see how it just kind of put the brakes on what was going on. And nowadays, it's the boy band garbage, excuse me, but that I think has really hurt the music industry, because once you start, like you said, that prepackaged production, glossy stuff, it kills the soul. And that's all the kids today know is that highly produced, untalented stuff.
Well, we always had bad music, I think, but I think if you're going to give the kids any sort of credit, it's that they have access to a lot more than we had. I mean, we used to have to go down to Home of the Hits. There was like one record store, in your town that might have something that you could listen to, and you would just buy it from the album cover, and get exposed to that. That's how I bought a lot of records, You didn't know what was inside. You maybe you read about it in a magazine, or you saw somebody wearing a T-shirt, and you'd buy it,
Right.
Kids today, they can sample so much more. They can hear so much more. So hopefully, as they that they listen to this stuff, they get exposed to music, but they'll eventually find another niche that they're into. There's so many subgenres now. Jason's the master of that. He's like he'll mention some new band that I've never heard of that it's only played at midnight in Australia, and it's like, oh, have you heard of this band? I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah. But there's access to that now. There's ways that bands, you would never heard of the Ramones, until you saw the Ramones. You didn't even know what they saw. You had an album cover,
Yeah.
And so that's, I think kids today have a little bit of advantage that way. So hopefully they'll get better.
I hope so. We're going to take care of a little bit of some business here, and we'll be back talking with Angel Rivera and the new band Super-Tugger, playing on September the 2nd down at Nietzsche's. 3 bands: Bighorn Sheep, Super-Tugger, and
Soul Butchers.
Soul Butchers, thank you. $5 at the door. You should get down there and see them, because it's going to be an awesome show. We'll be right back.
On the back
Another from the Viva Noir on Retro with Mike. Angel Rivera is here, and
Hello.
And the common thread between the Viva Noir and the Card Cheats and Super-Tugger is Angel, 100%.
100%.
And we've been talking about the brand new band Super-Tugger and some of the influences of Angel in that have brought him to where he is today musically. I'm not going to talk about any other influences.
No, I think that's enough.
Yeah. So again, the show is Friday the 2nd down at Nietzsche's. Bighorn Sheep, Super-Tugger, and maybe a quick little card cheat.
Card Cheats action will be in there as well.
And Soul Butcher. All good local bands.
Yes, excellent. Excellent local bands.
It'll be my first experience with Bighorn Sheep and Soul Butcher, but I do love the people that I know.
Thank you. Thank you. I think you'll have fun.
Yeah. One of the best things that, besides getting turned on to Dotsun Moon, one of the best things that happened from the friendship of Rich and Mary and whatnot was meeting you and your wife Ann, and then being turned on to the Viva Noir, and then Card Cheats and your Strummer, your Clash cover, and that. So it's just. I wish I was as talented as you. Let me put it to you that way. I can't read music. I can sing, but I can't read music. I tried an instrument, didn't do very well with that.
Right.
So, knowing somebody like you and Jason and Nick and the rest of that band and your band, I should say, and knowing Rich and Mary and Justin and Jamie, I'm a lucky guy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a lucky guy.
A lot of great musicians in this town. You know, I'm looking forward to it. Bighorn Sheep, they're personal friends of mine. The couple of those guys, we did the Strummer show last year as the Brixton Sons. So three of them, we joined forces and we played that show. But Bighorn Sheep's awesome. They're gonna be fun. And then like I said, Soul Butchers, they got that Dead Kennedys vibe. They got great guitars. It's just all around. It's a fun night.
What's Bighorn Sheep? What's their style?
They're kind of like more '90s alternative kind of band.
Okay.
Kind of heavy on the guitars. They got like 3 guitar players and 3 drums. So very heavy sound. Good guys. It's gonna be fun.
All right. $5 gets you in the door. Again, Nietzsche's Friday, the 2nd of September, which is not that far away, if you can
2
believe
weeks.
it. Yeah, we're halfway through August.
Yeah, join us. Kick off your Labor Day weekend with a little Super-Tugger.
That's right. That's Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, you have 3 days to recover.
Actually, I am on vacation starting 4 p.m. the 26th.
Nice.
So I don't go back to work until after Labor Day.
Oh.
I always try and plan my work vacation so I have that extra day.
Yeah, there you go.
Just me. I like that. But I'm nuts. So we're nearly done here. But tell me some more, because unfortunately didn't get to a lot of the music that you brought that is your influence or are your influences. Right. Tell me more about some of those bands, because we're going to play The Damned as our last song with Love Song. But tell me about the other bands that you brought with you. What they gave to you, I guess.
Yeah, I love The Damned. They had 2 amazing guitar players in that band. They had Brian James to begin with, and then the Captain Sensible. Afterwards, I mean, they had 2 amazing guitar players, 2 different phases, both of them talented. I love that sound. Of course, we got the Ramones. I mean, they're just like icons. It's hard to get over the Ramones. The other ones I got is the Dead Boys. That's another kind of Midwest move to New York City Band. They definitely got that soloing and blues rock thing from like Iggy and the Stooges and things like that. And then they moved to New York, and they kind of copped the New York sound. I mean, that still translates today. That I love. And then I had the Professionals. I don't know if you're a Sex Pistols fan out there and you've never heard of the Professionals, go check them out. That's Steve Jones plays guitar with them and sings. It's what he did after the Pistols broke up, and they never got their big break. They got in a car crash when they were touring the U.S., and the whole thing kind of just collapsed after that. The two guys in the band got really badly injured and stuff, so they were just jinxed from the get-go. But it's what he did right after that. So he still got the big wall of guitar sounds and stuff like that, and he's got a halfway decent voice, so that's fun. And then the other thing I have here is Generation X. I know Billy Idol gets a lot of flack, and probably deservedly, but the Generation X themselves are a great band. They had an awesome guitar player. When Generation X first started, they were looking for a guitar player, and instead of finding like a quote unquote like untalented guitar player, punk rocker, they found this kid in a cover band who was like 16 actually an American, and they found him playing like some cover band in London, and then they said we want you to join the band, but you got to cut your hair. And that's how they got him. And so the first two albums are awesome. By Generation X, I put them up there with the Ramones and everybody else, even though it's got Billy Idol.
Well, yeah, you look at bands and then who came after the band broke up, and Generation X was an amazing band in and of themselves, and love them or hate them, Billy had a good career after Generation X went away. It's like Joan Jett.
Right.
Her first band was awesome. Whether you love her or hate her, the stuff that she did by herself is good in and of its own right.
Right.
So and we'll take it right back to the Clash. Mick and Joe went their separate ways, and both did great things with their other bands. Right. You're wearing a Jam T-shirt.
Oh yeah.
Peter, just after the Jam went away, he did Style Council.
Right.
And and it's a totally different feel, really, than what the Jam was about. Right. But it's still awesome music.
Oh yeah, Paul Weller's another one. I should have put him on.
I'm sorry.
I should have put him on the list too. He's an amazing guitar player, amazing lyrics. He started off with his mod band, moved into Style Council, and then his solo stuff is amazing. I mean, he's just super talented. I mean, he's just. It doesn't seem to stop for him.
Why did I say Peter? I knew it was Paul. But anyway.
Or Mary.
Well, there you go.
Paul Mary.
Peter, Paul, Mary, yeah. So, before we say goodbye and play The Damned, is there anything else you just want to say to us, say about the band, what you got coming up besides the show, and hopefully laying down some tracks on an album?
Sure. Right now we're just getting geared up for the show, and as soon as we got like about 15 songs in our repertoire, we'll probably build that up more and see how they perform, and then we'll record it. We want to get a couple more shows under our belt with the original stuff before we record it, and that's kind of the way we're going to go. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the other thing, when we play the song, I want to give a little shout out to Steve and Jen from the Rabies. They're going to get back together for a Halloween show.
Oh, nice!
And that's going to be a lot of fun. I saw them. Bumped into them last night, and they're huge Damn fans. So this one's for you guys.
All right. Hey. Well, before we play The Damned, Angel, thank you very much for coming in today. Looking forward to the show on the 2nd again, and I've said it several times, but it bears repeating. The 2nd of September, Friday night, starting at 9 o'clock, you say?
10.
10, sorry about that.
First
10 o'clock is Soul Butchers, Super-Tugger with some card cheats, and Bighorn Sheep. Let me get this straight. Bighorn Sheep, then Super-Tugger, and finally Soul Butchers.
Yes, sir.
$5, Nietzsche's, Friday the 2nd, 10 o'clock is when the first band gets on stage. Go down there, do yourself a favor. Have a great night out with friends, family, loved ones, whomever. Go see Angel and the band. You will not be disappointed.
It's going to be a good time. Come on down, 100% Angel.
We, again, thank you for coming in. Retro with Mike. It's another day. Enjoy your Saturday. We'll see you next week. I should be here even though it's my first day of vacation. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Angel, for coming in.
Thank you.
And here is our The Damned.
Ladies and gentlemen.